English humour. A helter-skelter hustle over the roller coaster of English language humour. Part 5. Hangdog or Deadpan. And now we come to another of the important threads of English language humour, as far as I can see. A lot of it is based on the delivery. Let's think back to Ms. Bankhead's smart reply to the man who came into the room and said, "Tallulah, I haven't seen you for years." You remember? She then replied, "I thought I told you to wait in the car." But of course she didn't. She wouldn't have said it like that. It just seems to lose all humour. And as an example of this hangdog delivery, a comedian from the north of England, Les Dawson, who had the advantage of, in his own words, having a face like a bulldog sucking piss off a nettle. And Les was happy enough playing his piano and telling other people's jokes with a smile on his face, until one night he came out with his first original crack, as he tells it, which was, "I don't have to do this, you know. I only do this to get the luxuries in life, like bread and shoes." And with the lovely deadpan delivery, this got a nice applause, and he thought, well, okay, this could be my way in. That, plus the fact that his face had been given a good bashing in the boxing ring, and off he went with his hangdog style. I saw 6 men beating up my mother-in-law in the street. Bloke passing by says, "Aren't you going to help?" I said, "No, I think 6 should be enough." Oh, Les probably wouldn't get many gigs these days, but a very funny man. Americans might like to think of Walter Matthau in a lot of his film roles. Of course, neither of these were the first, but who knows in the world of cinema, possibly W.C. Fields. He had a career based on vaudeville, travelling show, where he juggled and played pool, as well as telling jokes, and playing up to the grumpy old man personage who hated children but loved alcohol. "I like to start each day with a smile," he said. "Get it over with." W.C. Fields left behind some still very watchable films. Died in 1946 on the day he hated the most, Christmas Day, and asked that on his tombstone they would put, "On the whole, I'd rather be in Philadelphia." But that never came to pass. Still a good example of the sort of delivery later used, you might say, by Woody Allen and earlier by Jack Benny. In the first half of the 20th century, a lot of Jews, along with other ethnic minorities, went up to the Catskills, a nice little mountainous leisure zone, to celebrate their own holidays in a region that was then called the Borscht Belt. So I draw your attention to this delivery style. You're probably familiar with it, but I do get the impression that in some countries it's not expected. However, I do see smatterings of it. The region of Spain where I live, Aragon, has its own particular humour they like to call somarda or somardon. Often translated as sarcastic, I would call it dry. Rather like the hangdog phrases my father would often use, or people in general up north, with this world-weary humour when stuck in traffic, saying, "Bloody hell, if we go any faster, we'll stop." Or after seeing somebody off, "If I never see him again, it'll be too soon." Well, there's a similar kind of vibe around here. Not typically Spanish, I'd have to say. And as we've seen, the Jews in the Borscht Belt form part of this clan. And I don't know every race in the world. I'm sure there is a part of Vietnam that enjoys downbeat, dour humour. But even though it's beyond the remit of this series of talks, let's finish with some Stalin-era communist jokes. Here's the one about the man who goes up to the newspaper seller in Red Square every day, buys the Pravda, looks at the front page, scrumples the paper up, throws it in the bin. Next day, comes back, buys every day. To cut a long story short, one day the newspaper seller asks the man "Can I ask why you do that every day, sir?" He says, "Certainly, I'm looking for an obituary." And the newspaper seller says, "The obituary is on page 34, sir. I don't think you'll find an obituary on the front page." And the man says, "Oh, the one I'm looking for will be." Or the man who runs into the Russian police station shouting, "My parrot's escaped, my parrot's escaped." And the police say, "Well, that's nothing to do with us." And the man says, "Yes, I know that. I just want to say that if anybody does find the parrot, I don't agree with it."